All right, I am back with Amaresh Mishra coming to us from India, from Mumbai. Are you in Mumbai right now, Amaresh?
No, no, I'm in Bangalore.
In Bangalore, the south. Amaresh is back. If this is your first time seeing Amaresh on this channel, he was here, I don't know, several months back, I guess. Time is in a weird time warp since the genocide started, but he was here months back to talk about his experience doing the equivalent of sit reps on the resistance and the Gaza war in India in Hindi. He's got a pretty big channel and he's following the war in Hindi for an Indian audience over there, but also the election. So the reason I wanted Amaresh to come on today was to talk about how, because Amaresh, you have a political party and you were working on the Indian elections, and you had some unexpected, I guess, or like counterintuitive predictions about the Indian elections that came true in some ways. So uh I wanted to talk about the way that the Gaza genocide is actually making its way into electoral politics in basically genocide supporting societies, France, UK. But first, what do you think? Let's talk about the Indian election because do you think you knew that Modi wouldn't win in a landslide? Were you surprised that he won a minority?
No, actually, I was because I was concentrating on Uttar Pradesh, which is which has the most populous state as well as politically most important because it has 80 seats in a 543 parliamentary system, and it's a huge state. And I was just comparing UK elections with India. In UK, people became MPs with just 19,000, 20,000 votes. And here, the people became MPs with like 800,000 votes, 700,000 votes, 600,000 votes. You see, but the point is that Modi lost. Actually, Modi lost the mandate. I believe that BJP won officially. It is standing at 240, 32 short of majority on its own, which is a huge setback. And because Modi got 303 in 2019 and then and 283 in 2012, so 2014. So despite leading a coalition in 2014 and 2019, his own party was sufficient. I mean, they got a majority on their own. This time it didn't happen. Even though Modi was projected as almost like a god, because in one of the interviews he said, I'm non-biological," and because I'm non-biological and I get these things from above, and his non-biological traits, they started exhibiting themselves more after the 22nd June Ram Mandir inauguration. And the best part is that BJP lost the Ayodhya elections. They lost in Ayodhya, right? And they lost in Prayagraj. They lost in Chitrakoot. Recently, in the by-polls, they lost in Badrinath. All places associated with Hindu mythology or with Hindu religion, all very sacred sites, and so all those seats. Only Mathura BJP won. Otherwise, all seats they lost. So it's a huge. I mean, although I was perhaps the one of the few who anticipated and said that UP is going to flip this time. That UP is the because UP gave BJP huge majorities in 2014 and 2019. And so this time, no one was ready to believe because they were saying BJP will win 400 plus seats and they will sweep. And to win 400, you have to win 80 out of 80 in UP or at least 75 out of 80 in UP, which BJP was close to in 2014 and 2019. But this time they got 33. The 33 is like a huge setback. No one was expecting this. It changed the entire scenario of Indian politics. Suddenly, a party or a movement or a right-wing force which was all set to change the Indian constitution is now battling for survival. Literally, I mean, the kind of implosions that are happening post these results in BJP are unbelievable. And this right wing party, which has been working for nearly 100 years, I mean, because RSS is behind BJP, and RSS has been working like a extended. I mean, I wouldn't compare it to Mussolini's party, or Hitler's party. It's a strange Indian phenomena, indigenous fascism, one can say. It has been working for. I mean, in 2025 they will complete their 100 years, and they were expecting a huge encore there, but they are getting kind of a thumbs down. So Indian elections, and there's one link with with Gaza, and this is what I had said, that apart from the fact that Muslims are in significant numbers here, and obviously they voted against the BJP because Netanyahu is BJP is a yeah, sorry, Narendra Modi is a close friend of Netanyahu. But one thing which I had said at that time, and people were not ready to accept, that because Netanyahu is tied down in Gaza and because Trump is out of power, Modi will not get the necessary support, necessary international support to actually swing the elections his way. And this is what happened. I mean, he normally he manipulates about 100 seats. This time, he was unable to do so in about 60 to 70 seats which he lost. And yeah, that's it. I mean, Indian elections, in a nutshell, they have changed India, and the center left is back.
So the projection of power of having a Netanyahu and Trump as some kind of triumvirate was what could have made Modi look stronger. Is that the idea?
No, this is one. The other thing is that if Netanyahu was not tied down like this, if Trump was the president uh, of America, or even if he was not the president of America, if he was like free to help Modi, because you see, Israel exerts this kind of an influence, an unholy influence, marked by spyware and so many other things on Indian elections. It has been doing so since 2000. I mean, it did so in 2014, 2019. There was this Pegasus controversy, that which a spy, a kind of a spyware, which the Indian government bought from an Israeli firm, and it was exposed that they were spying on their own party leaders as well. So, but that crucial help from Israel was missing in these elections for Mr. Modi, and that help from America was missing, because America was a huge rallying point in 2014, 2019. The Indian diaspora there, the way they supported Modi. This time, everything was quiet. There was the NRIs, and these organizations, the right wing organizations in the UK and the US, uh, particularly these two countries, they were not so vocal. And yeah.
Interesting. So let's move over to maybe the UK, since we were talking about the Indian diaspora. So you also think that the Gaza um, genocide played a role in the UK election?
It was one of the main issues, and the fact that although the Labour Party chief, who's now the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, he has been pro-Israel, and he purged Jeremy Corbyn, and he, I mean, George Galloway, of course, was purged a long time ago. But the fact is that the five independent candidates who won basically on a Gaza ticket. Now, when you say a Gaza ticket, people in India they don't understand. I mean, they can't get it, because for them, MP elections are all about the constituency. That what I'm going to do in this constituency, in this. You see, India is still a developing state, and there's so many local issues which get connected to national and ideological issues as well. But to fight and win election on a pro-Gaza ticket means that your main agenda was Gaza. It was not about just about building a road here, or building a drain there, or repairing something. It was about Gaza. That let's take a stand on Gaza. And these five independent candidates who won, as far as my knowledge goes, they were they 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 didn't denounce Hamas as a terrorist. They were, of course, very vocal about the atrocities in Gaza. At the same time, they had pro-resistance sympathies. Now, which where Starmer drew a line that I think, I mean, that that you that we can support Gaza and we can also criticize his rights to some extent, although he hasn't even done that. But still, to some extent, we can show some empathy towards people of Gaza who are facing a genocide, although he doesn't call it a genocide. But to stand with the resistance was a red line, and that red line was breached in many areas, and Labour candidates, they lost in those areas, and in some other areas they won by thin margins. So I see an acceptance of Gaza, and I will not limit this to the some Muslims winning on a pro-Gaza ticket. The UK press is trying to project this, and in India, this is also happening. In India, imagine even when Gaza was not much of an issue with the opposition, they just there were these vague things about standing in solidarity with the people of Gaza. But still, in India, a narrative was built after Modi lost that the Muslims played a major role in Modi's defeat. In UK, it is being said that Muslims played a major role in not only the defeat of conservatives, but in even cornering Starmer. And in fact, there were marches that we want a country back or something, and these kind of things were. All I don't know the exact ground situation, but what I saw on YouTube and other channels, and and the funny part is that some of the anchors were trying to whip up this Islamophobia that okay, it is all right to exist and everything, and I mean coexist and everything, but still Britain is on the verge of some kind of a major catastrophe or something. This is and the one more thing, the French elections, they were Indian right wing anchors. I mean, see I mean they're quite aware, and they caught on that they compared French elections. There's an anchor here, a very prominent right wing anchor, Sudhir Chaudhary. He actually compared French elections with Indian elections verbatim, and he stretched it to a point where he said that the way anti-Modi forces came together to defeat Modi, in a similar manner, National Rally forces came together to defeat Le Pen. So this is how he compared, and then of course he hinted at the fact that in France the Muslims were anti. They didn't want the National Rally to win, and in India the Muslims didn't want Modi to win. So are they building some kind of a globalist Muslim conspiracy against the right wing? I don't know, because these were these are the kind of things that are that have emerged. But the people have stood by the people. I mean, the Hindus in India, the whites in France and UK. They have basically. It is not. It is, I mean, Muslims are not in significant numbers in these two countries. So in UK and France. So, but but these outcomes are the result of the white majority actually going against the right wing, right? Otherwise,
Yeah.
we wouldn't.
Well, it was interesting with France because until the actual day of the election, I just accepted the idea that it was probably going to be Le Pen beating Macron. It was just Le Pen, Macron, Le Pen, Macron, Le Pen, Macron, and then all of a sudden it's Mélenchon and the left, and it was
Yeah,
a complete surprise. And it was very similar to India in that sense, right? It was
yeah,
just
yeah,
Modi's going to landslide, Modi's going to
yeah.
landslide, and then
Yeah.
it's a Modi minority. So the way they present the elections is
No, no, this is
everything.
a whole flip. It's a whole flip. And in France, I had this instinct because I've been following the New Popular Front, and
Okay.
which is uh, led by what they call a far left leader. I was and I am a part of the far left in
Yeah.
India. So this was I was following the NPF, and France and Bowden,
Yeah.
his organization. And I was quite confident. In fact, I gave an interview in Hindi to a prominent channel in India just before the French election, where I said that the left is, especially in the second round, the left is going to, because I could see the centrists with Macron. Ultimately, they were giving space. They were giving away the space to the leftists because they also felt that Le Pen would be the worst option, and I could see that. And the left was leading. The left uh, earlier the in France, basically because of this system of the first round and the second round, the left has had to follow the centrist. This time it was the other way around.
Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting. So do you have any thoughts on the US election, especially after Trump's
Yeah, this
incident?
near.
Yeah, the near miss.
No, U.S. elections. I don't know. I mean, I think they'll throw up some surprise. I mean, because this is the year of surprises.
Yeah,
No one was expecting Hamas to last for so long. No one was expecting Yemen, Hezbollah, Iraq,
yeah,
Iraqi resistance. Even resistance has emerged in Bahrain. Imagine,
yeah.
resistance has emerged in Egypt. Resistance has emerged in Jordan. All the
Jordan.
and they are. I mean, the Egyptian resistance executed a Mossad spy
Yeah,
just a month back.
yeah.
It was a major it was
They filmed it.
major news.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And in the US, the in Atlanta, if I'm not wrong, there are these the some black radicals have been kind of uh,
yes.
doing some radical acts like smashing
Yeah,
the railway platforms, some machines there,
yeah,
and in some other like in UK, the Elbit system factory is
yeah,
constantly being attacked.
yeah,
Now these are real attacks
yeah,
because and they're calling themselves actionists
yeah,
for Palestine, and they actually they are uh, they are picking up phrases from the resistance
yeah,
from the Gaza resistance. Their terms, the terms they use, are being used by the radicals in UK and US. The
yeah,
US elections, you tell me. I mean, I'm because right now the scene is set almost for a Trump victory. You see,
yeah,
on the surface, everything is
yeah,
fine. Trump is
yeah,
winning, especially after this incident, and he's been backed by Elon Musk and others, and there is
yeah,
a significant popular base also, and there are people who don't like Biden, who also don't like U.S. U.S. intervening in all the
yeah,
wars
yeah,
in wars abroad, supporting Trump, although they are unaware perhaps, or they're turning a blind eye to the fact that Trump can be worse than Biden as
yeah,
far as Gaza is concerned. He's
yeah.
like a total like a right winger, but I think something will happen because. I'm not sure about because US it doesn't have a third
Yeah.
the option for a third candidate.
They have a
And
Jill, they have a Green Party Jill Stein, and they're saying she's on enough ballots in theory to win the whole thing, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a surprise.
but
That
even
would
if
be a
she,
little,
but even if the, but even if a third force
yeah,
wins a significant amount of votes,
yeah,
more than more than the third candidate in other elections,
yeah,
that would be a protest vote.
yeah. It's
That
true.
in the context of, and this is what I'm anticipating, that there will be, although the third the the third candidate or the third force will not be projected by the media as such, but
Yeah,
we are tracking things
yeah,
globally in a different way. So for us, and I think the people of America, there is a last section which has emerged,
yeah,
which is towards the left, pro Hamas,
yeah.
towards the left, and which is, it's a minority obviously, but somewhere or the other they will make their presence felt in the elections
Elections.
also.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, so you're right. It's not gonna go. Nothing has so far gone the way we've expected. So there's no reason to think that America will. So And speaking of what we're expecting, let's conclude. You know, a couple months ago when you were on, we were talking about the war, and you said you thought it would go on for years, and it's gone on for months, and there's absolutely no end in sight. Where do you think we are in terms of the war? Where do you think, is this
Well,
just the beginning? I mean,
yeah, I mean, you see, now the war in Gaza, since we last spoke, has acquired. We also spoke about the war, having a global dimension. Now
yeah,
it is very clear that because on the side, what is happening is that when the war is going on, BRICS is getting strong.
yeah,
If you see, and there was a statement by a senior American politician that if BRICS gets strong, then it will be the end of the dollar. Because in BRICS, there is India, Russia, China, Brazil, South Africa, and many more countries are applying. Many, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, the way BRICS is growing. So this is an indication. This is an outcome of the Gaza war. People are not linking these two things, but the rise of BRICS as an alternative to the American system, the dollar-led system, and where in BRICS people are free to exchange commodities in a from a basket of currencies. And if you see Modi after winning, I mean after winning, sorry, after losing, and after setting up a minority government, he went to see Putin, and the West railed against it. They kind of uh, sort of threatened him also, but he had to do what he had to in India's national interest, because he knows that he can't push things around the pro-Israel way beyond a certain point. So he went to see Putin. Now, right now, you see, Justin, that like North Korea, China, Russia, and then Iran, and then Syria, Iraqi resistance, and then we come to Lebanon. Lebanon, Hezbollah is unveiling its new. They just unveiled a new drone called Hudhud, which has a major resonance in Islamic history. And this Hudhud drone has mapped Haifa down to the T, let us say, and it has mapped the
oh wow,
Syrian Golan, all the Israeli sites. So they are all within Hezbollah's reach. And each day, if you follow the Hebrew press, and especially because I mean there are people who translate uh, what is being written in the Hebrew press into English. So the Hebrew press is in panic mode, and they are saying no to any sort of war on the northern front with Lebanon, with Hezbollah. The IDF is going through such a crisis. People are resigning en bloc, right? And there is this whole crisis about the Orthodox Jews resisting enlistment. At the same time, Benny Gantz has left Netanyahu's war cabinet, and Netanyahu's war cabinet is now basically some kind of an open cook, Ku Klux Klan. I mean, there's no other. So imagine, so he that kind of a formation cannot continue for long, and Hamas has succeeded in its objective, in its third objective. Of course, it succeeded earlier in its first two objectives, which was to push back the normalization process, Saudi Arabia coming close to Israel, of reviving the Palestine issue as the number one issue in the world. I mean, yesterday I read Japan is on the verge of recognizing Palestine. Japan, imagine. And number three, they were able to draw the IDF into Gaza, where now there's a quagmire, and IDF is stuck. Every day there are resistance operations. The West Bank has become. I mean, you will not believe, Justin. Areas in West Bank like Jenin and Tulkarem and Nablus, they have.
to us. Yeah. You're muted, Amaresh. No. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, you're back. You're
So
back. You were saying
yeah,
Tulkarem. Yeah.
yeah. Tulkarem, Jenin, Nablus,
Yeah.
Tubas. These areas. the uh, IDF is abandoning
Yeah.
checkpoint after checkpoint
Yeah. Yeah.
because the militants, Hamas and the resistance, they are, and other factions. Of course, when I say Hamas,
Yeah.
I, just PFLP, the Marxist forces, and then
Islamic Jihad.
Palestinian Islamic Jihad, so many other groups, DFLP. So all these forces, they are pushing the basically they have been they have managed to close down IDF checkpoints, which has never happened,
Yeah.
and I mean which didn't even happen during the second Intifada.
That's right. Yeah.
See, and in Gaza, Israel is nowhere. They are saying that they have captured 16% of Gaza with the Netzarim axis. But
Okay.
if you follow, Netzarim axis is being hit daily,
Every day.
and
Yeah.
daily they are casualty.
Yeah.
And of course, recently we had an incident day before where there was a runover operation, a successful
Yeah.
runover
In
operation
Ramla.
in Tel Aviv,
Yeah.
in Ramle. And these things are continuously happening.
Yeah.
And Hamas shows no sign
Yeah.
of being, as Netanyahu said, that we will diminish Hamas or we'll finish Hamas, we'll eradicate. It is getting stronger. It
Yeah.
is emerging in places where it was not supposed to emerge and where
Yeah.
Israel had so-called won. So, in every sense of the term, I think this is leading towards a big humiliation for Israel, unless and until they think of something drastic, of a genocide bigger than the
Yeah.
one that is happening. But even then, when you see, you cannot fight the people who are willing to die,
Yeah.
and so the war. I mean, this time for the first time, I think after centuries, we are seeing this kind of a war
Yeah.
where it's a war of existence, it's a war of attrition, and Israel and America together, they cannot win a war of attrition. With leave
Yeah.
alone Gaza, see what is happening in Yemen
Yeah.
with the Eisenhower, the warship withdrawing,
Yeah.
with Yemen unveiling ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, and
Yeah.
hitting, and not just talking, hitting ships.
Yeah.
I mean, they are striking on a daily basis.
Yeah.
They
Almost
have
every
even
day.
struck Saudi Arabia, ships linked to Saudi Arabia.
They're
So
threatening Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
imagine the situation. Who has the upper hand today? It is obviously the resistance, the axis of resistance. Iran has a new president and everything, and things are. I mean, from their end, uh, things are the same. Axis of resistance is on the upswing. The way Putin is being sort of,
Yeah.
you know, out in like we have this term in Hindi, "Gherav," so it is used in English as well. The way they are surrounding Putin,
Yeah.
uh, the fact is, and the terrorist attacks on Russia now, but the fact is that Russia is has emerged, and Russia, its GDP is stronger.
Yeah.
Sanctions have not worked, and now the whole thinking there in the US is that when we put sanctions, then the dollar weakens.
Yeah.
And so this is, and it doesn't seem to, I mean, it hasn't affected Iran, it hasn't
Yeah.
affected Russia. It so you can go on, and so I think we are at a point where the world order is waiting for the result of the American elections before taking some drastic decision. Let's see how things will go on. But people um, who have stood up with their vote, and I'm talking at the global level, or who have stood up with arms, they are not going to back down.
Yeah. 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 I think that's true. Do you think Israel's gonna invade Lebanon?
I don't think so
You don't think
because
so?
they are already flirting. I mean, they have already launched so many attacks, and they have they're flirting with the whole idea. And but the public backlash in Israel, because after all, even if it is a hostage population, I don't think it's like the Germany of 1930s and 40s. It's 2024, and even if there is, there are just 7 million.
Yeah.
It's a 7 million country, 7 million strong country. There also, there are about uh, more than 200,000, or more than that, about 800,000 settlers have been affected
Yes.
on the in the
Borders.
on the yeah on the northern front. So, and they are not willing to go back.
Yeah. You're muted again. And somehow you got muted again.
I see that uh, if they invade Lebanon, then obviously then Israel is finished, because then I see a scenario maybe 6 months later or 8 months later. Actually, Hezbollah, Hamas, Yemen, Iraq, and all these forces and resistance forces which have emerged in Egypt and Jordan and other countries, other pro-West countries, even in Saudi Arabia, by the way,
Yeah.
they will invade Tel Aviv itself.
They're
I'm
gonna
telling you,
start.
this is
Yeah.
a possibility. They will invade.
Yeah.
They are just you see they are, because Russia and China have, like, they are openly supporting the resistance right now. Meetings are being held in of resistance factions in Moscow and Beijing. I mean,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
so this
They're
is the
trying to
level
get
of
they're trying to
commitment.
patch
Yeah,
up things between Hamas and Fatah in China.
yeah,
That's China's
yeah,
big
yeah.
mission.
Yeah, no, no, but actually, and the latest statement is that even if Fatah doesn't come on board, that is just a
Yeah.
cover. You see that because they have
Oh.
to show that there is some
Hmm.
aim towards which they are working. Why they are inviting these
These
meetings?
leaders.
But the real purpose is to grow closer to the resistance.
Right.
Russia and China are openly hosting a
Right.
resistance which is being dubbed as terrorist by NATO. So this, so I think if this goes on, Israel will, because the status quo cannot continue. Israel is on the back foot, and if it one more misadventure, and it will be invaded.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
Well, it's gonna be an interesting little while. So we'll have you back. We'll check in on these events again soon, Amaresh. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Justin.